Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on how automation of processes and data can address your organization's challenges. I'm Ray Hsu from NI, and I'm excited to present this webinar along with our partners here, Averna. So my role at NI is to help organizations improve operational efficiency by really helping connect the silos of test and measurement systems, automate processes, and then gain valuable insights from the data that's generated from those systems. And primarily doing that through a product we call System Link, which we'll touch on today. And so today's agenda, you can see here that we're going to start with, I'll touch on how this concept of digital transformation can help with help test organizations and test operations. But also we'll really dig into a use case here with NI manufacturing on how we're starting that journey with digital transformation. And then I'll turn it over to Averna to talk about Industry 4.0 and the trends there, and another use case of automation in a power distribution monitoring system. And throughout the webinar, please use the chat to enter in your questions. We'll be monitoring those questions. At the end of this webinar, we'll have a few minutes to address some of those questions. But if we don't get to your question, we will be addressing those with you offline. And so with the increasing, trends of product complexity and time to market pressures, what we're seeing is that it really is an opportunity for test organizations to become a differentiator and create an impact on your business. Create higher quality products that get to market much faster. But also doing that by increasing efficiency and reducing costs to ultimately improve the gross margins and the bottom line of your company. And we see an opportunity to do this really through systems data and digital transformation. And what I mean by that is really focusing in on streamlining all of your processes, removing silos, and creating that digital thread to really help free up valuable engineering time, as well as access to real-time data and data at your fingertips to really understand how your operations are going and really react to leading indicators versus lagging indicators. And at NI, we are one of the ways we're helping customers do this is through our investments in System Link to improve test operations. As you can see here, System Link is an enterprise software platform, client server. As you can see here on the left is really focused on modules to manage your system configuration, asset management. And on the right, really also at the same time help aggregate information from these systems, data about your test processes, parametric data, all the way down to more deeper engineering data about your processes. And it interfaces with an open environment of different software to accommodate for the various environments that you might have in generating this data. And so what I'll do today is really talk about an exciting use case of NI manufacturing starting this digital transformation journey. We started this in January of this year. And what I'll do is I'll share a recording. I had a chance to talk with our global test engineering manager and our solution architect who was responsible for this project, and had a chance to talk with them, and I wanted to share a video of that conversation. So I'm really excited to have here with us today John Zukowski from NI Manufacturing to tell us more about this initiative. John, can you quickly introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is John Zukowski. I've been with NI for going on 27 years, all in manufacturing in various areas in supply chain, manufacturing, engineering, operations, Patriot services. So fairly well-rounded exposure to the growth and evolution of our manufacturing operation.
That's great, John. And obviously you've seen a lot in manufacturing. But can you tell us about the motivations that we have to invest in digital transformation for our manufacturing processes?
Sure, sure. So, well, first, I consider this part of our continued evolution, right? To focus on and leverage technologies and tool sets that fit our business model and enables our staff to work smarter and more productively. And perhaps a catalyst event for us took place about 4 years ago when we engaged with then a third-party ADA provider and an exploratory pilot to understand how we can better use the vast amounts of data available to us in analyzing the performance of our operation, both holistically and also at a very detailed operational sequence level. That engagement was a tremendous learning experience and brought to light a couple things for me. First, how much better we could be by empowering our engineers with the right data, insights, and tools to help them do their job better. We are not using an MES system to manage our operation. We're leveraging our global ERP system, Oracle, to manage all of our production-related transactions and data logging. But this provides us with no means of systemic data analysis capabilities, as it's just a transactional-based system. So as a result, we went down the road by starting to develop and utilize really disparate, customized, homegrown data reporting tool sets, which, while functional and serve their purpose, were limited beyond basic metric reporting. And some of these data sources, if not a good chunk of them, were not supported by IT because, again, they were developed internally by engineers, by business analysts that are working within manufacturing some time ago. And over the course of time, these people tend to move into other areas. Perhaps they left the company. And so we're stuck with using a system which really no one understands the nuts and bolts on. And it makes modifying and upgrading those systems very laborious and overhead intensive. So we ended up in a scenario where we're using more descriptive tools, which told us the result of what happened, but not diagnostically why it happened, which further necessitates the engineering time for root cause analysis. So it was abundantly clear that we needed to provide a better means to mine and analyze data in a more efficient way to derive output from our engineering staff. And quickly, a second takeaway from that engagement was just how much we're underutilizing our data in operational decision making. We have an extensive amount of data across multiple resources in our production operation, in factories and satellite RMA centers. So our focus today really is to understand how do we overlay all of that data with stronger analytic tools where our analytic capabilities become more predictive than diagnostic.
That's great, John. It's it's certainly something that I know I've seen across many industries. It's great to see us begin this journey. Can you maybe tell us more about where we are in this digital transformation and what are some of the benefits that you're already seeing?
Yeah. So where we are at this point in time, we've deployed SystemLink on over 170 stations in our factory, well, factories, I should say. The products tested on these stations represents about 2/3 of our annualized production product volume at a part number level. Now, NI is a very high mix, low volume production organization. We still support a lot of older technology in the data acquisition, GPIB, and a fair representation of our test solutions are legacy, going back to pre-Windows 7 operating systems. And in fact, I know that we have a couple of Windows 3.1 based test solutions. So for those that we know that we don't have SystemLink directly loaded on, we're parsing all that specific data into a SystemLink server. So we have access to all test data for analytical purposes. So we're very early right now in dashboard design and notebook creation, but I'd like to highlight two recent successes that I think are really starting to get the snowball rolling downhill, so to speak, and gain momentum. We had a recent success in developing Jupyter notebooks and identifying parametric test outliers greater than 2 sigma at product test specs. Now, this is a big step for us going forward because we're now reading the parametric data into our SystemLink dashboards, And that's going to lay the foundation for developing further SPC reporting, such as CP/CPK exception analysis for each step in an operational test sequence. So this is very, very valuable data reporting on product quality, specifically back to R&D hardware design. And one other area also to highlight, and I have a big vested interest in this, is in our TSI program. This is a test set improvement. It is a preventive maintenance program for our ICT equipment. It's a homegrown solution that only measures at this point in time pass-fail data due to just the sheer volume of the data and the limitations we have with our data warehouse. So as a result of that lack of in-depth analysis, we were replacing ICT probes on a very time-based solution rather than a data-driven solution. But once we had component level parametric data availability and system link, for every test iteration, we realized how overzealous we were actually being in aggressively replacing probes when they were fully functional. So this analysis helped us reduce that probe replacement by 70% at our Hungarian factory. And we can proactively measure that probe performance to be more in line with my vision of a condition-based maintenance strategy rather than a time-based strategy. So we're going to be deploying that feature in our Penang factory very soon. So that was a big win for us in our ICT test strategy.
Thanks for sharing, John. As a final question, can you maybe share where all this is headed?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I were to summarize this at a very high level, I'd say that we're striving to really drive higher levels of operational efficiency by empowering the engineers and decision makers, okay, at a management level to leverage innovative data-driven solutions to achieve both of our short and long-term goals at a department and a corporate level. And a few of these we've outlined here on the slide that we're looking at. I consider these fairly conservative when I was doing the calculations, but the first one speaks to the efficiency gains that I'm looking to see with regards to the data mining within my organization. So I have over 50 engineers globally who are going into some of those homegrown solutions and data mining and spending upwards of 25–27% of their weekly time in those tool sets. Very conservatively, if I can reduce that by about 25%, I'm saving upwards somewhere between $55,000 to $110,000 just in data mining time. In some of these low-cost regions, that's enough money for me to hire 3 additional test engineers. That's a very key metric for me. The second one there gets into the area of data correlation. Ideally, I want to be looking at my RMA returns that are coming back from the field, and then understanding what the failure reason is in the field and correlating that to the production performance of that product in test. And there I want to be looking at when this product passed, was it a test outlier? Was it right on the limit? Did it go through multiple iterations of test? So I can start to develop probabilities of my outliers. What's the probability of that potentially coming back as a future RMA? And we may potentially be able to circumvent or eliminate the possibility of those going back as RMAs as holding them back and then doing some additional research on those. And then lastly, this is a big area in efficiency hit in operations, is over 40% of our test failures in operations are what we call pass on retest. And this is an instance where we have a DUT or a device under test that initially fails, but we'll test it immediately without changing anything in the setup, and it passes. And as we quantify the amount of those test fails and dollarize those in 2019, that was $3.5 million of inefficient use of capacity and resource time in production. So we are deep diving into these non-conformances, these test failures, to understand and Pareto what our root causes are across all the products. And if I can gain even a 10% reduction in year one, that's $350,000, which is a very significant cost savings, cost avoidance. So all of this equates to really lower operating costs, which is what our main goal is, that positively impacts our gross margins, which obviously is a key care about at both a corporate and investor level.
That's great. Well, John, thanks for the time today, and it's great to see the business impact this initiative is having today, and the potential of continued business impact in the future. All right, it was great to hear from John on the business impact that digital transformation is having on NI manufacturing. What I like to do is switch over to the technology that's required to achieve those results, and really, want to focus in on the data pipeline and architecture that's required. And so it's great to have here with me Mike Weir, who's a solution architect in NI Global Services, to talk more about how he worked with our manufacturing to achieve these results. Welcome, Mike. Can you maybe start by introducing yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks, Ray. I'm a solution architect, enterprise solution architect in our services organization, and I lead also the digital transformation practice. We have the opportunity to engage directly with customers and travel this transformation journey with them, looking at technology, looking at implementation to work towards the realization of the promises and ROI that these types of tools and activities can deliver.
Great. Can you maybe start by talking about the challenges of managing data within NI manufacturing?
Absolutely, and NI manufacturing provides a great backdrop for many of the common challenges that we face in approaching this. There's a lot of variety of data out in the world and in processes to harness. There's the challenges of transporting that data, and that can frequently be across global boundaries, across manufacturing facilities, and then in the end, the ability to model that data and get it into a location that it's accessible by your entire team for realization. What we represent here, and as a first step, is we take a look at what process we're executing as a company. That can be in validation, that can be in characterization. In our particular model, we're looking at a manufacturing process, and more specifically around a board and circuit and electronics manufacturing process. On the beginning of our process, we have circuit boards, and we send them through an SMT line, where we encounter operations such as SPI, chip placement, screen printing, reflow oven, and then AOI, optical inspection, at the end of the process, and out comes a circuit board. Many of those processes that are in steps in that process are generating data, already generating data, and that data is left and leaves significant value there. The next piece in our process is the ICT process mentioned before in circuit test, where we're doing some continuity tests and some structural tests on the board before we take it to the next step, which is value add and functional test components there. And each of these stations have their own flavor of data and their own particular way they generate it. And the process of data engineering is to go and extract and identify that data. For our initial phase of our manufacturing process, we decided to focus on the ICT data generated by a Teradyne machine and functional testers, which are generated by our own technology. The next phase in this journey would be to look at those specific data formats and begin to model that data and to begin to load it into our system as it goes through its transport journey.
Got it, Mike. Can you maybe tell us how we're using System Link as a way to help ingest machine data as well as integrating data into existing enterprise systems?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And System Link gives us mechanisms and to monitor, to harvest the data, transport that data throughout its entire journey. For our exercise, we have two facilities, two manufacturing plants, one in Hungary and one in Penang. We represent our manufacturing flow there, and System Link has tools to be a System Link client, can sit on the machines, can identify the data, can begin the transport process, and that transport process is the journey of moving it from Hungary on over through networks and ending up over into our corporate headquarters, where we can apply the tools of transformation, of data loading, and then eventually have it in our own central System Link server. Along that whole journey that the data is making, it's usually moving from Penang, moving over, we have dashboards and metrics that we can monitor the health of that data flow, the performance of that data flow, and then prepare it for analytics in the System Link platform, which then provides a method for engineers and users to access the data, but also the ability to run a further set of analytics and KPIs on it. But even organizations the data that arrives here, the parametric engineering data, this isn't its end stop. There's generally a movement to make a bigger topography that's happening in the organization. Companies are moving towards data lakes with the promise and opportunity to blend additional forms of data, such as ERP data, MES data, Salesforce data, defects from the field. So we have implemented the enterprise data flow now, where we're harnessing data at the equipment source level on the left side that's managed, ingested, and transported to the central System Link platform. But its journey doesn't end there. System Link participates in the bigger data analytics and data lake space. In our world, we have employed Qubol, which is a Hadoop-based data lake solution, and then we blend all our enterprise organizational data into that solution.
That's great, Mike. It's great that we've laid out this really critical first step foundation in creating a data pipeline across our equipment and into our enterprise systems. It's as you know, this is a critical piece to really take advantage of data to achieve the business impact in digital transformation efforts. Thank you, Mike.
So that was exciting for me as an NI employee to see our manufacturing, apply digital transformation and use our own products like System Link to really achieve efficiencies to help make us have a competitive advantage. And as you can see here, 86% of executives feel that digital transformation is going to be a main competitive driver in the next 5 years. And obviously there is a lot of opportunities within engineering manufacturing to apply these digital transformation. And at NI, we are investing significantly to help organizations in validation, verification testing, and manufacturing testing to achieve these goals through technology and services. And of course, we are also working with a few key partners like Averna to help your organizations achieve these results as well. And so at this point, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Averna to talk more about Industry 4.0 and another customer use case.
Okay, thank you, Ray. So hi, everyone. I'm Regis Sayer, Sales Engineering Director at Averna. I'm joined today by Matt Morrell, a Senior System Engineer going on his 16th year with Averna. We're all both very happy to have this opportunity to share some of our industry experience with everyone, particularly in light of the exciting solutions that are currently being developed. So quickly, our plan today is to give you a quick overview of who we are and the expertise we bring to the table. Then we will take a look at the challenges smart manufacturers are facing, particularly in the test and data management. Then we will review a recent project where we successfully deployed System Link for a major global data center, enabling them to facilitate and automate commissioning. And at the end, as Ray mentioned, we'll open the floor for some open questions. So for over the last 20 years, Averna has been a system integration provider of test and quality solutions. Test and quality is a global market, and to support our clients, we have location worldwide. Our corporate headquarters is in Montreal, Canada, and we have 3 additional offices in North America, including the 2 in the US and a build-to-print facility in Mexico. We also have 4 offices throughout Europe, including Belgium, the Netherlands, and Poland, and 1 office in Japan with additional support coverage in China, Taiwan, and South Korea. Today, both Matt and I are based out of our US West Coast location in San Rafael, California, in the Bay Area. Our mission is to be the world's leading test and quality engineering systems integrator by developing innovative solutions across the entire product lifecycle. And through innovation, teamwork, client commitments, and performance, we have grown to a global corporation with hundreds of employees throughout the world, and we have successfully deployed thousands of projects. Also, Averna has been the recipient of the NI Alliance Partner of the Year Award multiple times. As you can see, we are present in a multitude of industries, some of which are aerospace and defense, automotive, consumer electronics, and life sciences. This has exposed us to a broader view on test, manufacturing, and quality processes, and allows us to adapt best practices between industries. This experience allows us to get ahead of technologies before they are available to the public. It's only by staying ahead that manufacturing, and in particular smart manufacturing, remains competitive in this fast-paced business environment. Here's a good summary of our complete capabilities as a system integrator. We offer solutions that range from Industry 4.0 consulting services to asset assembly replication services. The majority of our business is in designing, building, and deploying test and manufacturing assets to our customers' facilities. It could be an assembly solution for something like requiring micron level precision, or it could also be an automated test solution for inline or end-of-line test. Over the last few years, we have made major investments in our vision and RF labs, in addition to developing our own product lines, which include a suite of smart data management tools. I referred to staying ahead of technology in the previous slide, and we understand that efficient data management is a key factor to success. By controlling and understanding the data coming out of smart factories, manufacturers can make educated and proactive decisions. In-house, we have about 200 engineers for software development, mechanical design, optical design, and electrical schematics. We also have expertise in pneumatics, robotics, electronics, and signal processing, with around a third of our engineers being like NI certified. Our teams work together and design the most efficient and robust test solution for our scenarios. Our industry recognition is attributed to our global presence, expertise in all NI products, notable solution developments, and R&D accomplishments. Today, we are recognized as a top Platinum Alliance partner with specialties in migration and upgrades, RF and wireless, and system link. The big winners of Industry 4.0 are traditional manufacturers that outpace their competitors in their technology adoption. They apply smart technology to both their product design and the manufacturing processes. And by staying connected from product design through support and repair, businesses gain the extreme advantages of understanding their products, understanding their processes, and perhaps most importantly, understanding their customers. But to manufacture test products, the best product in the most efficient way, it doesn't come with no challenges, right? So with this experience, we have been able to narrow down the biggest business challenges manufacturers are facing in today's market. Manufacturers need to offer products with more functionality or variation, and often in a smaller form factor. Generally, customers are looking for more business, but they do not have the budget to grow. This means that manufacturers need to integrate more electronics, increase the miniaturization of their product packaging, and use new materials to augment the resistance of their product. All of that without increasing its costs. This is not an easy task, so multiple variables need to change simultaneously while maintaining quality for the end customer. Additionally, while there is a technology race at multiple levels, there is also strong global competition. This comes in the form of multi-design center cooperation within company or external competition with local manufacturers in developing regions. In both cases, it creates a pressure on time to market and cost. With all competition easily accessible via the internet, the reduction of design iterations and shortening the release to manufacturing processes, manufacturers need to find competitive advantages and prevent enforcing costs. And finally, in markets such as medical devices, telecommunication, transportation, and defense and aerospace, regulations and standards are becoming more stringent and change regularly. In many cases, product failures can become life-threatening. It's not surprising to see that focus on quality and compliance increased accordingly. Managing the test and quality infrastructure optimally improves compliance reporting and reduces time spent preparing for regulatory audits or customer audits. It also gives the agility and flexibility to adapt quickly to new regulations. As a result, new manufacturing methodologies must be developed to ensure good manufacturing yields, high quality, and reduce costs. This is why we see high pressure on the migration to the smart connected operations. We need a rapid feedback loop and on test and quality and good quality of data in order to make faster decision in the manufacturing and design processes. We need to prevent deal-breaking quality issues. Efficiently managing manufacturing and test assets in an IoT platform will help manufacturers address most of the business challenges I just mentioned. So we know automation is the heart of Industry 4.0, and a huge benefit of automation is the insights of the data that it captured. Those who are using their data the most efficiently are coming out ahead. They benefit from machine learning, product intelligence, and proactive maintenance. By consolidating and managing the digital thread manufacturing is producing for both the product they build and the assets being built, or building them, you are not only provided with red flags, but also with solutions. This is why Averna has decided to invest in smart data management across the board. You might have heard that data is the new oil, and quite frankly, that's pretty true. As a result, over the last 5 years, we have grown our Industry 4.0 team significantly to focus on developing and deploying the right smart tools. This, of course, includes deploying SystemLink. So to talk about our customer success story today, I will let Matt take over and present how the deployment of this SystemLink was a key factor on our recent project.
Great, thanks, Regis. So as Regis mentioned, I'm going to be, there's some echo coming. Sorry, as Regis mentioned, I'm going to be talking about a real life application that Averna took on with one of our clients. I'm sure you can appreciate that there is some confidentiality concerns, so we can't show too many details. We can't go into too many details, and we can't show any photos. But what we can do, we'll give you a good overview of the project, some of the pain points and challenges the client was facing. And in the end, we'll show how SystemLink, which is such a powerful tool, turned out to be the right tool for the job. So our client builds and operates major data centers across the world. I'm sure you can imagine that data centers are enormous facilities. They're very complex, and they have hundreds of assets that need to be tested and monitored. There's a lot of consideration that goes into designing, building a data center. Here are just a few of them. First one is asset tracking. Secondly, cooling management. Thirdly, space optimization. Fourthly, network capacity. And lastly, high power usage. We're going to be talking mostly about the power usage and power aspects because that was the focus for this particular project. Our client has already hundreds of smart data acquisition systems in the field to test and monitor these assets. And they're looking for a solution to manage these data acquisition systems with the goal of eliminating risks and inconsistencies. So one aspect of data centers that's really important is to test the high power distribution systems. And that goes all the way from the incoming utilities from the grid down to the individual server racks. When a data center is built and commissioned, there's extensive testing that needs to be done even before servers are brought in. And so during this commissioning process, they'll go through and test each and every level of the power system. For most industries today, this type of commissioning is still a very manual operation. And our client was looking to benefit from the advantages of automation. A few of these advantages include saving time and lowering costs. Primarily, this is by automating the tests, making them quicker, and reducing the number of skilled labor that's required. Also, increased safety. Since these tests involve working with high voltage components, whenever you can remove or minimize the number of people doing the tests, you're going to increase your safety. More reliable and traceable data. When people are doing manual testing and recording results on paper, you have inconsistencies and sometimes subjectivity that come with that type of reporting. And lastly, collecting and organizing data so that it can be analyzed and analyzed and acted upon. So we work with our client to design and build compact reel-based smart data acquisition systems to do automated testing of these power systems. As of now, they already have more than 200 of these smart data acquisition systems in place, and that number is continuing to grow as they expand data centers or build new data centers across the world. So I'm sure you can imagine just managing this many hundreds of data acquisition systems is quite complex, not only because the sheer number, but also because of the fact that they're all over the world at different sites. So what our client needed was a tool to automatically deploy software updates to all of their DAC systems across multiple sites, again, worldwide, and easily bring on a new system when it's being integrated. Easily bring on a new smart DAC system when they need to increase the number. So the project solution, SystemLink was the ideal tool because of the ideal tool to manage all these DAC systems for several reasons. First of all, it's compatible with all NI hardware. All of these systems that we've developed and deployed are based on NI hardware. Secondly, the software can be automatically updated on these DAC systems to an unlimited number of stations. Thirdly, plug and play architecture. So again, as we deliver new DAC systems, it's important that they can quickly bring it up and integrate it into an existing data center. And remote software deployment. Again, it's really important since these are located worldwide that they can remotely push software updates. And as a side benefit, they eliminate some of the safety hazards of having to go and work with the actual hardware. Regis, you were heavily involved in this, so do you want to take a minute to summarize the project and talk about how the customer was feeling about it?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Indeed, that's true. We were deeply involved in that project actually together. So before the deployment of SystemLink, it was impossible to update a smart data acquisition system remotely. So with SystemLink, our clients can now automatically deploy software updates for the more than 200 compact RIOs that are in Asia, Europe, North America. And most importantly, we can keep them current and with frequent updates whenever the new software comes up. They can also easily add new compact RIOs. They simply order their smart data acquisition system directly from us, and the system are ready for use upon delivery. So the commissioning process is much more automated now, thanks to that process, thanks to the project, which dramatically increased the efficiency, the safety, and also eliminated inconsistencies and increased reliability. That's wrap up our case. Thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to either of us or go on our website. And Ray, I'll let you transition to the final conclusion.
Thank you, Regis. Thank you, Matt, for sharing. I think just to summarize what we've heard, I think some of the key points to take away is that you have to, in this era of applying digital transformation, really start with efficient data management and really creating that data pipeline and connecting and removing silos from your test and measurement systems. And then that leads to automation, and automation equals efficiency. It frees up engineering time. But also on top of that, it eliminates human error, it eliminates potential issues that, like, for example, in manufacturing that might cause a quality problem, or in data center monitoring, it might cause a safety issue. So having this streamlined automation is extremely important. And finally, once you've set up this infrastructure, I think it sets your organization up to really take advantage of data, to start being able to mine that and apply advanced analytics so that you can get the feedback from your processes and your operations to continuously improve and future-proof your operations. So I want to thank everybody for attending this webinar. I want to thank Averna for joining us. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Amy to facilitate our Q&A session.
Thanks, Ray. Everyone did great. Guys, that was terrific. We do have a couple of questions. Some are regarding the NI portion and some are regarding the Averna portion. So I'm going to start with NI. Firstly, Ray, can you speak to how far along you were in your digital transformation when you started implementing SystemLink?
Is it regarding our NI manufacturing?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. So so we had, let's say around 2018, released SystemLink as a new product, and then starting in 2020. As we worked with our manufacturing and they wanted to improve digital transformation and data management, we started working with our manufacturing to apply SystemLink in the right way, and also apply our, you got to talk with Mike Weir in the video, some of our digital transformation practice consulting to really pull it all together. So it started in January of 2020 as an official manufacturing project. And over that time, we've connected about 300 test stations. We have dashboards, and you heard some of the impact we're already getting in, from John Zukowski, our global test engineering manager.
Well, so to that point, there was actually a follow-up question. Do you have any pragmatic advice for getting started with your digital transformation?
Yes, I think I hear a lot of, hey, you can sprinkle some machine learning and some advanced analytics and magic happens. I think what the pragmatic advice I have is really starting with understanding where you are and understanding the business impact that you want to create with digital transformation. And that's not only applying technology, but understanding the people that are involved and what their dynamics are, and also the processes that are involved. So really figuring out the people and processes and the business impact as a first step, and then from there map back to applying the right technologies and solutions to really kind of ooch your way in, starting with a simple proof point, a pilot, you might say, and then starting to expand out, maybe at one site, and then expanding out to multiple sites. So sort of the crawl, walk, run philosophy.
It's funny, yeah, all the questions fit really well together. So the last one I have for NI is, can you speak to any changes that you had to make to your production process or data process? with regards to your system link integration?
Right, right. So I think the major change was the ability the data previously was all in disparate places. And it took a lot of time to pull all that data together for these weekly meetings that John was having with his team. And I think the major change was to apply System Link as a way to streamline that data pipeline, to automate that data into a single location so that it's easily accessible. But also, I think what's exciting was that's just the test data and the data that came from the machines. As you heard from there, we then took an additional step to work with our IT and our business intelligence group to integrate that data into our corporate data lake, which allowed us to marry analytics, not just with test data, but with data about product genealogy, about orders, about what's happening with the supply chain. And so those are some of the exciting things that we are starting to explore once all this data is there, ways to really impact not just tests, but overall manufacturing operations.
Awesome. Thank you, Ray. Regis, Matt, there are a couple questions for Averna as well. Specifically, we had 2 questions about the case that you guys were talking about. So can you speak to how long the project execution took? And you mentioned that you could update over 200 systems simultaneously. So how was it done prior? And what were some of the challenges that you faced?
Okay, so the project was actually, there was multiple aspects to this project. System Link is one part of it. And there was also the smart data acquisition system that we had to design and develop based on the Compact Rio. And then there's all the software infrastructure that is really customized for this application. System Link itself, it took about only a few weeks to deploy and to configure and enable all this administration of Compact Rios worldwide. The hardware itself, the smart data acquisition itself took more like 4 to 5 months to develop, because we had to go through to certification, UL list being UL listed, applying the CE marking on it. It's highly regulated industry, so obviously we need to have all this compliancy. The software is actually, after several months, there was already a primary version that was usable, but this is something that is ongoing. Like for 2 years now, the software keep being developed and improved. And again, thanks to this ability to deploy software very easily through System Link, newest version of software always gets released and can be deployed easily. The kind of challenges, well, one of the challenges obviously that we're doing all of that right now in the COVID period, which could be obviously causing some concerns. Supply chain, obviously, is always the first thing you think about to be affected. Luckily, with all the good relationship we have with our suppliers, we didn't see any really delay because of that. The other aspect is like data centers, same as like medical device and this kind of industries, they're considered essential business. So by extension, we were able to do to also be essential business and continue operating almost normally to make sure all of that is covered correctly. And also things, Averna, as we explained, is a worldwide company, so we have multiple offices. We're also able to migrate our operations to different offices to follow different direction from each countries.
Yeah, and I can speak, I think, to the second half, maybe, Amy. Updating these systems remotely, you were asking how it was done in the past. First, I should mention that the type of things you can update, include drivers on the C-Rio systems, firmware that's on there, parts of the OS, I guess you would call it, that's on the C-Rio. But also there are some PC-based software that is running in these data centers, and that can have application software that can be updated. So in the past, if you had to even install or update software on a C-Rio, you'd connect it to a PC or a laptop. you'd open Measurement and Automation Explorer, manually install software, and format the device, and kind of sit there and wait for it to get installed, and then maybe move on to the next one. And that process can take a long time. So now with System Link, that can be done in a much more automated way, again, remotely, to multiple systems at a time. It's just so much quicker. There never was a way to do it before, to do this on a production type of scale. And besides manually, choosing which portions of the software to install, with System Link, you could do create an image of one smart DAC system and just replicate it to all the other ones. So it's really powerful and quick.
That's perfect. Thank you, guys, everyone. And if no one has any more questions that they'd like to ask, I believe that will be the end of our webinar, but you can always reach out to either NI or Averna if you have any further questions. Ray, was there anything you wanted to say?
No, thank you, Amy, and thank you everyone again for attending this webinar. And as Amy said, please feel free to reach out to NI or Averna for additional questions, and we're happy to engage. Thank you.